Izon, the Okomu Kingdom, and all other Ijaw-speaking kingdoms of Edo State are peace-loving people. We are peace-loving. We are not at war with anybody, but don't dare us. We are peace-loving people by their law-abiding disposition, which, with regards to the rule of law, knowing the importance of peaceful coexistence with their neighbors, our refutation of the false claims and expansion tendencies of the Oba of Benin and the Benin Kingdom should not be seen as joining issues over what ordinarily could have been termed frivolities of twisted minds, or dignifying a roguish and bullish attempt to falsify, subjugate, and culturally appropriate ownership of our land, since the historical truth of our aboriginal status is a well-documented and settled issue. Documented, settled issue. Lies often repeated over time without being countered by the unyielding truth assumes a monstrous life of its own, but tend to occupy a short space in the cultural, social, and political fabric of a nation and become a morass with sometimes devastating consequences. The Ijaws of Edo State were in the land you presently claim as yours. You were settled by the Ijaws at a village called Udo. Yes. Yes. Your first settlement. Yes. Presently still called same. The name has not changed. We witnessed the invitation you extended to the Oni of Ife to bring one of his sons by name Oramia to settle the internal crisis that engulfed the entire environment due to the influx of the Benis to our land. The original name of the land presently called Bini is Adobo or Igodomigodo, meaning the key to the kingdom in Ijaw language. Oramia, in anger after failed attempts to reconcile the aborigines and the Ife settlers at Udo, village called the land Ile Ibinu, before his departure back to Ile Ife. The Ijaws of Okomu, Olediama, Egbema, Fropa, and Baran clans of Edo State are not quick to forget about the relationship that has existed between the Benin Kingdom and the ancestral home of Ile Ife. This was evidenced by the practice of the Bini people of Edo State taking the bodies of their late Obas back to Ile Ife for burial. Is it a lie? No. The word Ikimu, corrupted by the British to Okomu, is an Ijaw word meaning the roots. Regrettable to state that with the huge economic contribution from the natural resources, the Okomu Kingdom is natural resources of the Okomu Kingdom to the coffers of the Edo State government. The latter has not found it fit to locate basic infrastructures in Okomu land. It will surprise the general public to note that the most token of government responsibility, education, is completely absent. As there are no primary and secondary schools, there is no link road to the outside world in Okomu Kingdom. My pressman, let me tell you, we have just on our own organized a secondary school. We hire teachers. We pay from our purse to teach our students so that we will not remain illiterate. Where else has this happened in Nigeria as a whole? But as Okomu peace-loving people, they take us for right. They take us for granted. They want to cage us educationally. They want to cage us politically. They want to cage us economically. And they want to cage our future, which we are saying no. Izon! Yeah! We are saying no to this. This is the cruise of this press conference. Very close to us. Ogiri, very close to us. Small villages, not more than 40 houses. They have their own king. Then why must that of the Ijaws of Okomu Olodiama be a different thing? That they want to strangulate us and just to call dog a bad name to hang it. Yes. But history will tell. At this junction, it is important to note that the Perez, kings of Ijaw nation, are neither elected nor by inheritance, but through divine selection by the national gods of the Ijaw nation. They are both spiritual and political in their sovereign dispensation. That is why when a king in Ijaw land pronounces a curse on you, you are cursed. Unfortunately, through the economic and political marginalization of the Ijaws, there is an attempt to demean our monarchs and deny us our aboriginal rights of ownership. We are ready to defend with the last drop of our blood our kingdoms and our kings. Hi, Izon. Izon Gbene. Area Miamne. Tebaya. Okomu Kingdom in Edo State, like all the other Ijaw kingdoms in the state, has suffered serious political marginalization. Successive governments of Edo State and the Oba of Benin have orchestrated clandestine moves to legislate on traditional institutions matters with a view to subjugate and to coerce the Ijaw cunningly and forcefully, and thereby reducing them into second-class citizens through the enactments of laws that are obnoxious and negate democratic and plural society. The Ijaws in Edo State are balkanized into different wards. For instance, where there are large Ijaw communities and population, they are deliberately broken down into smaller units and merged with Benin-speaking constituents to prevent them from producing their own representatives. That will stop. This should be noted. We are not at all at war with them. But don't dare us. Don't push us to the wall. This barbaric act cannot happen in this era of civilization. It is an abomination to our ancestors, to we the living, and to even our future unborn children. 5, that the state, federal government, and all relevant security agencies should prevail on the Oba of Benin, Oba Eware II, to stop his attack and that of his subjects and agents against Okomu, Ikoro, and all other Ijaw communities of Edo State. Number 6, that the Oba Eware II should acquaint himself properly with the correct historical facts on the true relationship between the Ijaws and the Benins during the pre-colonial and colonial era before making an ill-motivated expansion moves. Number 7, Okomu Kingdom hosts the following companies, namely Okomu Oil Palm Company PLC, Okomu National Park Services, Orubai Estate Limited. In the light of the foregoing, we hereby, on behalf of the Traditional Council of Okomu Kingdom, under the watch of the Kalasuo in Council, enjoin both the Edo and the federal both the Edo State and the federal government of Nigeria to accord the Ijaws of Edo State their economic and political freedom. In the Bible, God commanded Pharaoh to allow the Israelites to have their freedom, which Pharaoh refused because God had hardened his heart for an unforeseen consequence. All entreaties to persuade Pharaoh to listen to God Almighty and the voice of reason fell on deaf ears. Nevertheless, the freedom of the Israelites came without any price paid for it because of their long years of slavery. The Edo State government and the Oba of Benin should let the Ijaws of Edo State to have their God-given and inherent rights, economic, and political freedom. Thanks and God bless.
So emphatically clear that the Ijaws in Edo State are not at war with the Benin.
Express the solidarity of the entire Ijaw nation from Akwa Ibom State to Ondo State with the Ijaw people of Edo State. All that has been said here, we affirm it in totality. The Ijaw people are not settlers in Edo State. The Ijaw people are indigenes and owners of the lands that they occupy in Edo State. So we are in total solidarity with them. And let me also make this point, that any threat or attack on Ijaw people in Edo State is an attack on the entire Ijaw nation in Nigeria. And more importantly, let me also emphasize the point, as a lawyer of more than 10 years standing, a lot of you have been emphasizing a court judgment. I have read the judgment that you are referring to between two individuals in Gelegele and Ogboton. That judgment has nothing, let me emphasize, very important, that judgment has nothing to do with the entirety of the land that is owned by the Ijaw people of Edo State. You cannot use a land dispute between two individuals from two communities to rob the entire nation. It's ridiculous. Even if there is a dispute over a parcel of land in this community, you cannot say that because of that dispute, the entirety of this community is owned by the Bini people. So that judgment has no relevance to the issue at stake. So we want to warn and advise the government of Edo State to behave like a government and not an extension of the Oba Palace.